Is a poor weight transfer in your golf swing holding you back? Let's transform your game. Hi, I'm Bill from Phoenix Golf, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a poor weight shift and some drills that can hopefully help you find out if you have a poor weight shift or a weight transfer, and then some drills you can do if you do have a poor weight transfer and you want to get better at it. So, I've talked about this a little bit on the channel before. I've struggled a little bit with a terrible move of getting to the top of my backswing and then having my weight go forward. It is a little bit of early extension, which I've been working hard on that. But some of the videos, some of the teachers I've talked to, I feel it's not so much that early extension, but more of a poor weight transfer that's causing a lot of my issues. Some of it being overswinging, and then kind of lunging towards the golf ball. So some of the teachings that I've kind of grown to like recently have talked about getting a little bit more weight on the balls of your feet, almost so you can't like lift up your toes. And that way, when you go back, you can get your weight transferring to the inside of your trail leg into that quadrant. So let's kind of go through what a good weight transfer would look like, and then we can go through some drills. So I want to preface this too, talking a little bit about as you're doing weight transfer, a lot of people think their weight transfer or weight shift is good, but really what they're doing is sliding back and forth, which can cause a whole bunch of problems. So you want to make sure that when we're doing the weight transfer drills, you want to make sure that you have a nice hip turn and you're staying inside this box we've talked about, where your hips are in this box, and that the weight is on this inside of the foot, inside of the trail foot on the top of your backswing, not on the outside of your foot, and you're getting outside of that box. So make sure if you feel like you're not getting a good hip turn, you can go back and look at some of the past videos I've done. I talk about that. But weight transfer, a lot of people think like, oh yeah, because my weight's going back, my weight's going forward. And really what they're doing is sliding, and that's really not super helpful, and it's going to cause a lot of other problems. So most people, when you're hitting short wedges, your weight transfer is not going to be huge. Usually want to have 60-40 on the front side for pretty much anything from 8-iron and above, or at least for me personally. And as you get to 7-iron and below, you're going to want to be a little bit more even in your stance here, weight distribution, maybe like a 50-40 type of thing. And then as you go back, you want that weight to transfer from this first quadrant here to the second quadrant on the inside of your foot here. So as you go back, you should feel the weight transfer to this part of your foot. And then on your downswing, you want to feel it transferring to the front left of the foot. And then on the downswing after impact, you want to feel it transfer to the back heel of your lead foot. So for me, I was very not transferring that weight at all. And I wasn't feeling this kind of like ankle roll at the end, getting that weight forward. So for me, I felt like when I've been taught the golf swing, it was always like, well, if you didn't have to move it, don't move it. You want a very steady base to turn around. And I get all that. But when I started watching videos of very good golfers, some of them are pretty accentuated. Like you look at a Bubba Watson, his feet are all over. Scotty Scheffler, obviously, his feet are all over the place. But they're very stable still. Their feet are just moving and helping with that weight transfer. So I started to think about what drills I could do, what I could do to help me feel a better weight transfer. And some of the drills I've done recently too are the step drills for gaining speed. I did a video on that. So as you go back, stepping forward, and feeling that go through. I've done some where I take my normal stance and I just shorten it a little bit, so I'm more narrow. And then as I get to the top of the backswing, I take a little step forward just to feel that weight transfer. I'll show you again. So like very narrow stance, get to the top, little step forward, and go through. And I focus on getting the weight to the outside of that heel. So that for me was a huge, when I started to hit the ball better, I also noticed I started to get less head movement going forward. The weight was going where towards the target. Early extension stopped. My overswinging stopped too, because if I was stable, I could get way up here, feel like I'm making a good turn, I'm going way too far. But if I'm doing these step drills, my weight's already transferring, so that body doesn't need to feel the need to keep turning. So I start going right towards the target. So a good weight shift or weight transfer is so important, because if you look at pro athletes, pitchers, their weight goes back, weight's going forward. Tennis, weight's going back, weight's going forward. And golf makes it so difficult because in those sports, the ball is moving. Everything is moving. Golf ball is still. And so you're still. And so for me, I felt like I needed to get a little bit more athletic, a little bit more reactive in what I was trying to do. And how could I do that? So here's a couple of drills that I've picked up, and one that I've kind of been doing myself, which I'm sure somebody else is out there. Golf's been around a long time. I'm sure somebody's thought about it, but this is one I haven't seen, but I kind of thought of. So the first one is a drill from Adam Bazalgette. He talks about kind of swinging with one hand, left arm, one hand, right arm, and then kind of combining that feel. And he talks about not really focusing too much on hitting the golf ball, but more of the feel of the kind of the whipping action of the club. So he says, start with your left hand, get that feeling of the weight kind of transferring, and then just kind of whip it through. And I'll show you from the other way so I can really do it here. So he says, don't even put a ball down, but just focus on like getting that weight through, just feeling like nice and full turns like this where your weight's going forward. And then he talked about, the same thing with the right hand, gripping it way down on the shaft. Again, feeling, good turn here, not swing, and then feeling like you're kind of skipping that stone, just going through, getting that weight over to the left side here, and trying to feel like you're actually throwing the club down there. So those are a few that people like Adam Bazalgette talks about. A couple of drills to kind of start feeling that weight shift, feeling that movement in the golf swing. Now here's the one that I started doing by myself, which I felt like in an exaggerated way has really helped me get a feel. So what I did was, let me put this down here again so I have an idea of alignment. If you're indoors on a simulator, always a good idea to have some alignment rods down when you're practicing, because you don't want to get outside when you start playing and have your alignment be all off. So this has been really helpful. So what you do is you place your club down where the ball is going to be. You take a sponge, you put it on the kind of the outside trail foot heel area like this. Then you take the other sponge, put it on the outside of the trail foot on the front foot, or somewhere in that vicinity to get a feel. And we're going to do this slow without a ball, but this is how I started to do it, to actually get a feel for what my weight transfer was doing and how to do it. So I get a little bit more on the balls of my feet, so I can't really if I was sitting way back, I could lift my toes a lot, you can see. So I want to get to that point where I'm not lifting up so much. And then now I raise my right heel, and I kind of put that weight a little bit towards the inside here. I don't want the weight on the outside of my foot. I want it on the inside. So I'm already kind of it's almost like I'm putting that big toe down into the ground and putting my knee a little bit towards this way versus out this way. So lifting my heel like this, it's going to feel very weird. Now I'm going to take the club back slowly, and as I do, I want to feel that heel plant down on that sponge, and you can see my head doesn't go forward, it goes back, or even not really too much at all, which is good for me. So plant that foot, and as I get to the top here, I want to lift my left foot off that sponge a little bit here. Then I want to plant that down on that sponge on the lead leg and get off of the sponge on the trail foot. And I want to feel this front heel getting rolled over. So let me show you from this way too, so you can see it. Okay, lift up that heel on the trail leg and get that knee kind of like that Elvis move there. So you're not out this way, but just like your weight's already basically, you're ready to post up on that trail leg, and then the weight is on the inside of the foot. So as I go back, plant on this sponge, lift up off of this front sponge. Now plant on the front sponge, get off of the back sponge. And for me, that feels, when I do that drill, I can really feel that weight transfer. And if you just want to lay the front sponge by your foot, that's fine. Just something to give you the idea of I want to plant down. So I get here, and then like I said, just nice, slow, heel up, Elvis move there, slam down the sponge, get away from the sponge. And for me, that really helped to just feel that weight transfer and that movement. Another drill that I've seen recently along the same lines is basically, instead of sponges, use an alignment rod. So you put the alignment rod down, You stand on it so the balls of your feet are forward. And then as you go back, you feel the weight transfer to this side of the alignment rod. And then as you transfer forward, you feel like you're kind of going those quadrants right over the alignment rod. So instead of using sponges, but it's the same feel. So basically, get on the alignment rod like this, feel the weight go to this side, the back side of the alignment rod, and then on the forward side, lead foot, and then back over behind you on the alignment rod on the other side. I personally like the sponges. Helps me get a good feel. And like I said, I noticed a lot of good things improving in my swing just for the weight transfer. And I even kind of feel like as I'm getting ready for my swing, lifting that heel while I look at the ball, placing the heel down, and then using that to kickstart my swing feels like a nice little trigger to help me get that weight moving forward and to feel like a little bit like you're not so locked in cement, give it a little bit more athletic. So hopefully that drill will help you get a feel for a nice weight shift. Remember, make sure that when you're turning, you have a nice solid hip turn, stay in the box, and you're not swaying out. Because if you're swaying out, you got to deal with that first before the weight transfer. So there's lots of videos on that online and on my channel as well. So if you like these videos, tips and drills and stuff that I'm doing, I please ask you to like and subscribe as I continue to grow the channel so I can share stuff. If you have a question or a comment or are looking to fix part of your game that you think I can help with, please comment below. I always appreciate a good comment or a supportive comment as I try to do this. So hopefully that'll help you get your weight transfer in the right direction. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything, please write them below. And good luck on your next round of golf.